Hey everyone, it's Colin from DIY Guy. Thanks for checking out today's video where I'll be doing a DripWorks garden irrigation system, and it's going to be cheaper than they actually try to sell you for on DripWorks website. So Michaela and I are going away on our honeymoon, late honeymoon from COVID, for 3 weeks, but I'm also a little nervous about leaving the garden because it's like peak summer season, like 90 degrees. I'm going to come back to a crispy garden if I don't set up some sort of irrigation. So before I get into the install, I want to walk you through all the parts I bought because it'll save you actually a lot of money if you go through and only pick out what you need. So DripWorks actually sells, I think, 3 packages. They have a small, medium, and large, and it kind of just goes by square footage. So I have somewhere between a small and medium garden, and so I didn't want everything that they were trying to put in this medium package. I'm sure there's knockoff brands, but I went with the name brand just to be cool, I guess. So yeah, I sketched out my plan, and really I probably cut out about 25% of what was in the medium package. So instead of spending, I think it was like maybe $250, I spent about $150 or $160. So here's everything I got in the medium package, itemized by Colin. Honestly, it doesn't look like a lot, and that's because it's really not a lot. It's kind of expensive. So let me walk you through the itemized list of stuff I got. First is the spigot connection. You'll need one of these. And so one end is threaded for your spigot, and then the other end has the connection. So you're just going to push this right over the 1/2-inch tubing, which I got 100 feet of this. It's a pretty good size roll, and it's pretty sturdy. It's not gonna, if you bury it and then you hit it with a shovel, it's gonna cut, so make sure you know where you bury it. I've hit my internet cables like 3 times because they only bury them 3 inches deep. The other things I got were a couple connector pieces. So I've got 2 of these, which are just kind of a coupler, which just in case I make a mistake. Got 2 of those, and then I got 2 of these T's, which could come in handy if you don't want to bend your tubing. It will probably crease if you try to turn like a 90-degree corner, and if you crease it, then it's going to do something like that and restrict your water flow a lot. So you're probably going to have to use the T's or some sort of elbows. I got some elbows too, just in case I have to go around some corners. All pretty easy to use. They all just stick right on the end of here, and then you screw them and lock them in place. The other thing I got was pressure regulator. I got the 30 PSI. I'm gonna pop it on there and see what kind of dripping I'm getting out of the little tubing, and I may or may not use it. So next up, they had a really clever way of doing the end terminations, which is really cheap. So you've just got a little figure 8 thing here, and you put one end of the tubing through there, and then you fold it across, fold it over, and then you put it through just like that. All right, next thing I got is 300 feet of this drip tubing. So it's 1/2 gallon per minute Cobra dripper line. Max length of run is 18 feet. So if you run this any more than 18 feet, your pressure at the end of it is probably not going to be very good, and it might not water your garden or those parts of your garden as well as you want it to. So I got 300 feet of that just to be safe. You'll probably use a lot more than you think you will. Now if you're running in areas where you don't want to water weeds, I also got just plain 1/4-inch tubing. So this is not drip line. 100 feet of that just in case I need to go around some dead spots. So now we get down to the little connectors. I got like 20 pieces of these elbow barbs. So these are going to be for the 1/4-inch drip tubing. So then I got 50 pieces of the transfer barbs. So you can see they have a barb on each end, and it's a hole all the way through. They also have a thing called goof plugs, which look like this. These are for if you poke a hole and you actually didn't want a hole there. So you're going to have some sort of a tool. I didn't want to buy their $8 tool. I'm probably just going to use like a screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver or something, and start the hole. And then you'll just use the barb end and pop it right in there. Now the last thing I got to make this all hands-free is a digital water timer. So I just got this off Amazon. It's a Restmo. This is what it looks like coming out of the box. You've got your spigot coming in here, and then your drip tubing or your main line tubing will go out there. So that DripWorks connection we've got will screw right on that. That's it for the show and tell of the parts I bought. Now let's get into the install. So here's the sketch I did. I highly advise you do this before you get started. It'll help you a lot. But this black line is my main line tubing, and this is actually going to go all the way up here to my blackberry patch. And then you can see all the other lines are my 1/4-inch tubing. So I didn't want to just do one long stretch, because remember, you can only do about 18 feet max before your pressure starts dropping off. And so I just kind of divided it up in probably 4 or 5 sections. I've got one run here, another run here. Each of these little triangles is my connection to the main line, and then another run down through here, and then the last one is all the way across the top row and down through here. So what I'm gonna do is actually install this whole system, and then at the very end, I'll walk you through the whole thing and just show you how it's all connected. All right, so this is the part where I'm gonna actually put the barb in and connect it to the 1/4-inch tubing. And so what I did, I just took a small Phillips screwdriver and poked it right into my tubing. It's super easy since it's warm. And then I take the barbed end after I put it on the, just stick it right in the tubing, and I put the barbed end and you push it in and you'll hear a little snap probably. And that's it. So then you just run your drip tubing wherever you want it. All right, so I just spent 2.5 hours getting the whole irrigation system installed. So I started at the spigot and then I buried the line all the way through here until I got to the garden. And then once I got to the garden fence, I didn't bother burying it. I'll just cover it with leaf mulch. And so I got in and I ran one main line all the way through the garden. And then what I did was tap off that 1/4-inch drip tubing off of that where I needed it to go. All right, so I've got the main line coming through here, and I just wanted to show you one of the connection points here. So this is where the 1/4-inch meets the main line. So when you do this, when you make sure you have at least one drip point around the plant. So this right here is a drip point. You can see where the little opening is. I have 2 of those around each of these peppers, and you can get different drip styles. So I actually got 100 feet of one drip point every foot, and 100 and 200 feet of one drip point every 6 inches. So I would recommend the 6 inches. It's a lot easier to work with, and you don't have to bend the tubing around as much to get a drip point next to your plant. It took a long time just going through all the little stuff, but once I got through, I went out the other side of the garden. So the fence opening is right here, and I went over to the blackberries. All right, so again, I got into the yard and buried the line. I wanted to make sure that I don't hit it with my lawnmower or anything. Buried the line about 3 inches deep, and then I get to the blackberries. Got a connection to the main line. I ran the main line one continuous tube all the way to the blackberries. Ran the main line through here. I actually did 1.5, like a full loop around each of the blackberries just to make sure they get plenty of water. And that was it. That was all the hard work. So there you go. With vacation season upon us, go out, get you an irrigation system, take a 3-week vacation so you can keep growing it yourself even while you're away.